Jovan, listen to me right now. I don't have a single penny to spare for your college education. Did you really go behind my back and take that entrance exam anyway? Even after I explicitly told you not to waste your time on this nonsense?
What?
Don't play dumb with me, young man. Even if you somehow managed to pass that exam by a fluke, I already made it clear to you that I can only afford to support you for a little while longer. And that means you are not setting foot in any college. For God's sake, I cannot believe that you would defy me like this and do something so stupid.
Mom, what are you even ranting about right now? I thought we had this conversation already. I told you that I'm going to get some scholarship money to help me out with my tuition fees for the first 2 years.
What?
A year ago, before Dad left for his overseas assignment, I was talking to him about all of this. And you were there with us too. The only one who seemed to care about what I was saying was Dad, of course. But you did congratulate me on the scholarship. And you did say that as long as whatever I was doing didn't interfere with Sasha's needs, I was free to pursue it.
I said that.
I know that Sasha's illness has put a lot of financial strain on you and Dad. And I know that you have been paying for her treatments for years now. And that's why I have been working hard and studying hard to get to a point where I can receive some financial aid from the state. And yet, you still want me to give up on my dream of going to college?
I told you that as soon as you graduate from high school, you should get yourself a decent job and start contributing to this family's income.
After all those times you criticized your siblings for never going to college and settling for low-paying jobs. Are you really going to ask your own son to follow in their footsteps?
Well, that's a different story.
Sure it is. I understand that for a long time now, while Sasha has been so sick and in and out of the hospital, you have been stressed out and frustrated with life and you take it out on everyone else. But things are getting better now, and you need to start changing your attitude and your expectations with the rest of us. I know you love Sasha more than anything, and you would do anything to make sure she has a happy and healthy life. Even if that means asking me to sacrifice my own aspirations and goals for something you don't even believe in.
Well, if you understand how I feel right now...
But Mom, I'm her big brother, and I'm not going to throw away my potential by not going to college and getting a degree. I want to succeed in life. Not just for the money, but so that I can support Sasha as well if she ever needs anything from me in the future. And that's why I want to go to college and learn more. I want to explore different subjects and fields, and hope to one day find a fulfilling and rewarding job where I can apply all that I have learned. Going to college is not just about me, Mom. It's about more than me. It's about ensuring that Sasha has a secure and bright future as well. I know I don't have the best grades in the world, but with this scholarship I'm getting from the state and with my chances of getting admitted, I think I'll be fine. So please, stop trying to control what I do by saying that you don't have the money to pay for me, or that you want me to work for your sake.
I get it. Well, as long as you're not going to cause any trouble for Sasha, then go ahead and go to college. But you really need to learn how to respect your mother and talk to her properly.
Jovan, did Mom give you a hard time again? Well, I was sitting in front of the TV doing my rehabilitation exercises when I heard her voice raised about you in the kitchen.
Oh, you're referring to the argument we just had. Well, Mom was trying to convince me that going to college would be too expensive for her to afford, and that's why she didn't want me to pursue it. But then I reminded her that I had already talked to her and Dad about me getting a scholarship that would cover my tuition fees for the first 2 years, and that she wouldn't have to pay anything for me. However, after I brought that up, she insisted that I should be working right after high school to earn some money for the family. Then I pointed out how she always looked down on her siblings for never going to college and settling for low-paying jobs, and how it was hypocritical of her to ask me to do the same. Well, that seemed to have angered her a lot, but she didn't have anything else to say.
Ah, so that's what the fuss was all about then. Mom really has no idea how hard you've been working to get into college and achieve your goals without burdening her financially. Does she not even appreciate that you've been the one homeschooling me all this time while I've been sick? And you've only just gotten some relief from it now that I've recovered and returned to the public schools?
I doubt she cares, but I'm really happy to hear that you're doing well in school with all the other kids now. So thank you for being such a diligent and attentive student of mine.
Well, thank you for being such a patient and supportive teacher.
To be honest, I kind of enjoyed being your teacher. It helped me learn and practice a bit about what it's really like to be a teacher, and that's something I'll be able to use in the future.
But still, I'm grateful that you were there to teach me after you finished your own schoolwork.
No problem.
Jovan, I'm going to assume that the graduation ceremony is over and done with by now?
It's all wrapped up, and just as I expected, you didn't even make an effort to come and see me there. I can understand Dad not being there as he's working on the other side of the world right now. But I was the only person in my entire grade that didn't have anyone show up to see them graduate.
Is that so? Well, that's not of any importance or relevance at the moment. Right now, I have something very important to tell you, now that you're officially out of school.
What?
Sometime before the end of the day, I want you to pack your bags and get out of my house.
Excuse me?
And the reason for this is because Sasha is requesting it.
Sasha wants me to leave the house?
Sasha has told me that she wants to be the only child in the house now. So, she's asked me to have you gone from the house as soon as possible.
What? Why would she ever say such a cruel and mean thing about me? There's no way she actually said that.
But she did. And as for myself, I only consider her to be my true child and that you're just some unwanted intruder. In other words, I don't need you in my life, Jovan. So don't even think about coming home ever again.
What? If that's what you want, I guess I don't really care that I have to leave the house now. I've already taken most of my belongings out of my room anyway. So this isn't a big deal at all.
What?
Are you going to pretend that you didn't notice anything? Well, I guess I'll have to fill you in on this. The college that I'll be attending in September is about 7 hours away from home by car.
What? 7 hours?
In other words, you have absolutely no clue what college your son is about to go to, do you? Well, I don't really care if you know where I go or not. Well, that's all I have to say to you. Goodbye forever, ex-mom.
Good morning, Jovan. I'm assuming that yesterday you were able to arrive safely at the apartment that you rented near the college that you'll be attending this fall, right?
Good morning, Sasha. That's correct. Right after my graduation ceremony came to an end, I got into my car with a lot of my stuff and drove for 7 hours to get to the apartment. I just had myself a small breakfast, and I'm now starting to unpack all the boxes that I brought along and set up my new place.
Well, while you're busy with that, I'll be taking Mom off your hands and going out to have some fun with her.
Well, I'll be waiting for you then.
And, by the way, what did you do about the name of the lease for that apartment? Well, one of my friend's sisters who works in the real estate business explained a lot of this to me in detail. She explained that since you're only just starting college, it might be difficult for you to get an apartment on your own, both legally and because the school might have some rules against it.
Oh, well, now that you mention that, I realized that I forgot to tell you or Mom about that. Well, I guess I really didn't have a chance to tell you at the time. But anyway, the name of this place is Dad's.
Is that so?
Actually, back in May, he came back to America for a month and was in town to see me. And while he was here, he helped me with all the things that I needed to do to get me into this place.
That's a bit interesting.
I know that Mom is probably trying to make you think that Dad is some kind of selfish and uncaring man who doesn't really care about us. But he's actually the opposite of that. He was very happy to come back to town to help me with the apartment. And he even paid for my first few months of rent in advance.
Is that so?
And it'll only be another 3 months or so before he comes back from overseas for good. And we'll be living in the States again. So during that time, if you ever feel that you need someone to come and help you and mom's being unreasonable about it, make sure to ask dad for help because I'm sure he'll come right to your aid.
You think so? All right then. And within another year or so, I think I will have the opportunity to get out of this place for good.
In only another year?
Well, when I'm old enough to enter high school, I should be able to make a case to live on my own. And so I'm aiming for that time right now so that everything goes smoothly and I can get the hell out of here. And I'm sure that will all be made easier if Dad and you are able to lend me a hand when I need it, you know? After all, when I leave her, I might need a place to stay. Or at least a small amount of financial assistance.
I'm not sure what all you have in mind for that.
I'm still thinking through a lot of the specifics, so when I have a clearer idea of what I want to do, I'll let you know.
Sasha, are you really serious about starting to play tennis at high school?
You must have found out about that from Dad.
You can't do that. I want you to join the debate club. Please.
Why should I join the debate club?
Because your body is far too frail and delicate right now for you to be playing any sports at all. And something like tennis, you need a lot more stamina and endurance to play a sport like that.
Well, from what I've heard the doctor tell me, I'm completely cured and can get back to being a normal kid.
You used to be in choir back when you were in middle school. You don't even want to join that club again?
But in choir club, I still had to move around on stage a lot for some of the performances.
What?
Having to sing already uses a lot of one's energy, and then having to dance around at times, and also stand up on stage for hours at a time. When we practice after school, we even do a little bit of exercising to maintain proper muscle tone and posture for our shows.
Excuse me, what did you think you were doing back then? You were so weak, and still are. And they were making you exercise and all of that.
That's why I'm saying this now. I've been over my sickness for over 3 years now, and a lot of my strength has been returned to me, making me feel even better than ever. And that's partially due to me being able to exercise during choir back then. I understand you want to feel concerned about me since I was sick for so long, and without a whole lot of strength, but I'm no longer as weak as I was then and ready to move on. I've already moved on, actually.
But listen, Sasha, going into something like tennis means you'll be busy all week long practicing. And you'll have to go to practice and games on the weekends. And another thing, I was finally able to get rid of that Jovan guy who kept living in our house after all these years. So we finally have time to be together with one another in this house without anyone bothering us. So don't waste all that time that we could be spending together on something like tennis.
Huh? What did you just say? Did you say that Jovan was getting in our way? My brother? Your son?
You told me a while back that you wanted to become an only child, right? And you and I both never really thought of Jovan as being part of this family, right?
Are you freaking kidding me? Mom, was that something I said to you years and years ago when I was in the middle of being terminally ill? Because that sounds to me like something I said when going through all those treatments and being on loads of medication. Well, if I did say something like that, I didn't mean it at all.
What do you mean?
I mean that I probably meant to say something else. Like how it felt like I was an only child because Jovan had to give up his time to become another parent of mine. Maybe I meant that if I had never been born, Jovan could have lived a better life at home with his mother.
What?
Of course, right now I don't think anything like that anymore. And I'm very happy that I had someone like Jovan as my older brother to be around the house all day with me. It's because of his stepping into homeschool that I was able to get right back into public schooling when the doctors let me out of the hospital and allowed me to start moving on my own. And as for the high school exams that he had to focus on while doing all of that for me, you told him he couldn't study for those exams because he had to be at home to take care of me while you went off somewhere. So you know what he did? He stayed up all night on the computer after I fell asleep and studied his butt off. And then when it came time to help me study, he'd forget all about his work and only focus on me. And you know what else? While he was so dedicated to making sure my grades were excellent and that I'd be able to make it to high school, he was still working his butt off for his college entrance exam. And he even aced those two. I'm seriously going to be forever indebted to him. After all those years, he had to give up for me while also finding ways to keep advancing himself.
Sasha!
And so, to help make going to high school a lot easier and smoother for myself, I'll be moving to Jovan's apartment and leaving this town for good.
What? You're moving out?
Actually, I already had all my stuff moved out of this house, and I'm currently on a plane flying to him. I told him that the STEM-based school near his college is where I wanted to go, and so he generously offered that I stay at his place while going there.
What are you even talking about, Sasha? I know for a fact that you'll be starting class soon at the high school in town with all your friends, right? This has been the high school you've been dreaming of going to for a long time now, right?
What? Are you sure about that? I get that you wanted me to go there since it was in town and has a really good debate team, which you wanted me to join. But I told you already that I someday want to be an engineer. And that's why I'm going to school that focuses on that style of learning.
How dare you?
The plane is going to land soon, so the plane Wi-Fi will cut off any second now. Thank you for all those years of taking care of me.
Sasha, wait!
Bye!
Jovan, you stole my little girl from me. What the heck do you think you're doing? Taking her away from me?
She was the one who told me she applied to go to the STEM school here this fall.
How dare you? Have you all forgotten just how much I sacrificed and worked to care for Sasha while she was deathly sick and needed me?
Sacrificed, huh?
What's with that tone?
I don't think I'll have another chance to say this after today, so I'll let you know right now. I'm not sure if you realize that. When you say you sacrifice yourself for her, you actually just mean you want to use her as a way to make yourself feel good. Like you used the fact that you helped her to control her and the rest of us.
What? What the hell does that mean?
When Sasha was in the hospital getting treated and at home from time to time, you were always the one that went to be with her the most. But you were only ever there, and that's all.
What? I was always with her from the moment she had to be admitted to the hospital to the day they discharged her, right? It's not like someone with no knowledge of medicine could do anything more for her, besides be with her, right? So that's what I did.
And was it really important that you would go be with her to talk to her and such? But from what she's told me about you, you would hardly ever let her speak and instead go on tangents about yourself and the life you lead. And at times when other families would be there with their sick relatives, you'd start to speak louder so that everyone had to hear about you and your sick daughter. And sometimes what you started yelling about wasn't even appropriate for the hospital. And you caused all those other families a lot of stress. Remember that it wasn't just you going to the hospital to see Sasha. And when I would go in, I'd have to apologize for everything you did.
What?
I had a lot of families and doctors and nurses tell me I must live a very tough life at home with you. Since you had your high schooler son apologizing for the way you behaved. And another thing, you seem to forget a lot of the most basic things when it came to caring for your daughter. Bringing things like new clothes and stuff for her to change into.
What?
It took a lot of effort from both Dad and me to have to help with all of Sasha's laundry. Especially when she was becoming a teen and she began to change. Normally, someone like you should be in charge of that. But you never seem to think about Sasha's needs. So at one point, Grandma realized that Dad and I needed help and would start stopping by the hospital to grab her dirty clothes and clean them for us.
She was doing that?
Also, the reason for Dad having to start working overseas wasn't something he chose to do out of his own desires. He didn't choose to leave us to try and escape from caring for Sasha, but rather to get the pay increase that came from it so that we could afford her treatments.
Wait, that was his reason for leaving?
And when it comes to Sasha's schooling, I was the one who had to school her for most of her time in the hospital and at home because she wasn't able to go to school anymore, right?
Well, I never once saw you teaching her anything from those homeschool kids.
The only reason you never saw me teaching her anything is because you hated being around me when I was with her. So you only chose to go to the hospital or come in the room when I wasn't around.
But
So what did you do, Mom? Can you give me some concrete examples of what you did to care for her?
Well,
I'm sure you can give me an answer, can you? I already gave the answer to that question. So now all you're left with is empty words. So you do understand now why things are the way they are.
But I'm Sasha's mother. I have the right to decide what's best for her.
It looks like Sasha will be arriving here in just a few minutes. She's already on her way to her new home.
What?
Don't worry about it. You can leave everything to do with Sasha in my hands now. I'll take good care of her. See ya.
You stop right there, Jovan. I already boasted to all of the other moms in my friend group about how she'd be going and joining the debate team at the high school in town. I made it seem as though she would be the most brilliant and talented student ever there. After years of having to fight her sickness with the help of her mother, she's still able to go to high school and win debates for school. That would be incredible, right? I have to be able to prove to all of those people that my daughter is going to those debate tournaments and excelling in school with great grades. If I can't, then there will be no reason for me to brag about her. Hey, can you try and persuade her into coming back here and going to school? Jovan, give me back my girl!
When I began to think that she had finally stopped texting me, my mom would then send another message asking me to give her back the car that she had given me. So to keep myself from losing my mind, I blocked her number and cut off all contact with her. And as for my father and what he'd do about Mom, he ended up filing for divorce from her about a month after that. It turns out that my father was able to find a job at an office in town near my college and Sasha's high school. And so he's been able to meet with her whenever she gets out of class. He's living on his own right now outside of town. But every once in a while, we all get together to go out for dinner or something and catch up on our lives. And then there's the story of what's happened to my mom since then. After finding out that her husband had divorced her and that she had lost both her kids, she decided to leave her house and go back to her hometown. But a lot of people back home didn't welcome her very much anymore, and not a single person came to her aid as she cried for help. These days, I think she's still back in her hometown, working some low-paying jobs. But I can't be too sure of that since I haven't heard anything about her now.